For centuries, sailors have told of sea serpents, giant, ribbon-like creatures that would ascend from the depths only to return to the abyss shortly after being sighted. And for centuries, scientists discounted these stories as nothing more than myth, or the product of anxious sailors telling stories at night. But here's the thing. Sea serpents are real. On this episode of The Curious Current, we're going to be diving into the insane biology of the oarfish, a deep-sea creature that until recently very little was known about. These creatures call the deep sea home and have insane biology that help them support their existence under crushing depths and in near total darkness. Meet the giant oarfish, Regalicus glesnae. This is the longest bony fish alive, stretching over 30 feet, longer than a giraffe is tall, and somehow even weirder looking. Its body is silver and ribbon-like, topped with a red crest of dorsal fin rays that shimmer like streamers. And instead of swimming horizontally like a normal fish, it moves vertically, head up, undulating a single dorsal fin that runs the length of its spine, like it's trying to levitate through the water column. They're rarely seen alive, but when they are, it's unforgettable. A real-life sea serpent just drifting through the dark. To understand this bizarre creature, you have to go deep. Really deep. Welcome to the mesopelagic zone, aka the twilight zone of the ocean. It starts around 200 meters down, where sunlight fades to a dull blue glow, and ends at 1,000 meters, where darkness is total, temperatures plummet, and pressure could crush a car. This is a world of shadow, where predators glow, food is scarce, and movement costs energy you can't afford to waste. And that's where the oarfish lives. It doesn't cling to the seafloor or hide in caves. It just drifts in the vast open water column. Solitary, slow-moving, and seemingly unbothered by gravity. It's like a ribbon made of moonlight, floating through the deep. Now, the oarfish might look delicate, but it's been evolving for the deep for millions of years. Its body is mostly gelatinous, with minimal muscle and light, fragile bones. Why? Because down here energy is everything, and it takes a lot more energy to float than to fight. Most fish have a swim bladder, or a gas-filled organ that works like an internal flotation device. It lets fish hover at a specific depth without sinking. But in the deep sea, that becomes a liability. Gas compresses under pressure, and a swim bladder can collapse or burst if a fish rises or sinks too quickly. So the oarfish has none. Instead, it uses low-density oils and tissues to stay neutrally buoyant, like it's wearing a deep-sea invisibility cloak. And how does it swim? Not by flapping fins like a shark or tuna. It ripples its long dorsal fin in a gentle wave, letting it hover in place or glide vertically like a ribbon caught in a current. It's not built for speed, it's built for silence, for drifting unseen through the dark. Now here's the twist. For all its size and mystery, the oarfish isn't a predator of legend. It eats tiny stuff, plankton, krill, maybe small squid. It likely filter feeds as it moves, gathering microscopic prey drifting through the water. In the ecosystem, it may serve as a mid-water grazer, part of the vertical nutrient loop that connects the surface to the deep. But here's the honest truth. We don't really know. Most of what we've learned about the oarfish comes from the dead ones that wash ashore. Healthy, active individuals, those are almost never seen. It's like trying to study birds by only looking at fossils. And then there's the legend. In Japanese folklore, the oarfish is known as the messenger from the sea god's palace. And when one appears near the surface, it's said to signal that something is coming, something big, like an earthquake. This idea has made its way into viral headlines in recent years, but scientifically, the evidence is thin. Studies have tried to link oarfish strandings with seismic activity, but the data doesn't support it. Still, the myth persists. Why? Because the oarfish feels like it should be a sign. It's rare, it's otherworldly, and when it surfaces, it's impossible to ignore. So what is the oarfish? It's not a monster, it's not a prophet, it's not a hoax or hallucination. It's a real animal, a living ribbon of silver and science, drifting through the deep like a secret the ocean hasn't finished telling. And in a world mapped by satellites and scanned by sonar, creatures like this remind us we still haven't seen it all. Stay curious, stay current. Thanks for watching. Meet the glass squid, a creature so bizarre it seems like a video glitch come to life. It's see-through, it floats like a ghost, and it uses light to disappear. Let's jump in to learn more. There are more than 60 described species of glass squid, all part of the Cronchiidae family, each one a variation on the theme of, let's make a super weird squid. These creatures drift through the open ocean's twilight zone, a place so vast and mysterious that we've mapped more of Mars than we have this part of Earth. And the glass squid is truly one of the strangest, most alien-seeming residents. The legendary marine explorer Jacques Cousteau once said that there are no doors in the ocean. The glass squid puts new meaning to this phrase. It perpetually floats through the deep, dark abyss like a translucent balloon hovering in a world without walls. What makes it so extraordinary is that its body is almost entirely see-through. We're talking jellyfish levels of transparency here. Most of its organs are tucked away or masked behind reflective bits, and the rest just light and goo, or squid stuff, if you will. And yeah, it is adorable, in a this thing probably shouldn't exist, but I'm happy it does kind of way. Now, being see-through is already a pretty solid strategy in the deep sea. But the glass squid doesn't stop there. It goes full stage illusions. Picture this. Predators in the deep often hunt by looking up, scanning for shadows, any silhouette that blocks the faint glow of sunlight from above. So the glass squid pulls off something called counter-illumination. Using tiny light-producing organs called photophores, it shines just enough light downward to erase its own shadow. Think about that for a second. It's not just hiding, it's actively bending light to blend in with the background. That is stranger than fiction, and personally, it floors me. It's an incredible product of evolution in a group that has called the deep ocean home for millennia. It's basically the ocean's version of an invisibility cloak. But if you think the adults are strange, wait till you meet the babies. These little babies look like tiny water balloons with eyeballs. I'm not even exaggerating, look at this little thing. When I started looking into these, I couldn't believe that they were real. I personally think they're one of the cutest animals in the ocean, and they're so silly. Many species are born with bloated, fluid-filled bodies that help them stay buoyant while they drift through the mid-water zone. They barely move. They don't need to. They just float. Some even have little glittery patches, like someone sprinkled sequins or glitter or something onto the squid, which does sound very cute until you remember that they live in total darkness and that they literally glow to avoid dying. It's pretty weird, but it is kind of beautiful. Of course, not everything down here is chill. You still have to eat, not be eaten. Glass squids aren't the fastest swimmers, but they make up for it with some pretty wild defensive tricks. Some species can actually curl up into a ball, like an underwater armadillo, to protect their squishy insides. Others shoot out bioluminescent ink. Yes, glowing ink. It's like a flashbang grenade for fish. The predator gets blinded, the squid jets away, and life continues. And yes, they still have tentacles, with suckers and sometimes even hooks, because even deep-sea jelly balloons have to grab dinner. They hunt small fish, shrimp, maybe even other squid, which is honestly impressive considering they look like a floating stress toy. This is a good opportunity to share that we still don't know much about these animals. The deep ocean remains an elusive mystery and an area that we need to study more. I really look forward to the coming discoveries in the future, and I'm really appreciative of all the research institutions and funding going to those institutions to ensure that we have a better understanding of what the deep ocean contains so that we can do a better job of protecting it. Now let's look a little bit further into what life looks like in the twilight zone. The glass squid lives in what scientists call the mesopelagic zone. It's between about 200 and 1,000 meters deep, so all the way up to about 3,300 feet for those of you in the US. It's a place where sunlight fades into darkness, where colors disappear and bioluminescence rules. It's also one of the least understood ecosystems on the planet. Most of what we know about glass squids comes from deep sea trawls, or the rare moment when a submersible catches one on camera. Which means there are probably species down there we haven't even discovered yet. Whole squid lineages just drifting through the dark, invisible. Honestly, that gives me chills. Every time that I think about what's down there and what we have yet to discover, it puts me into the mindset of an 1800s explorer with so much more to understand, and it makes me realize there's still so much that we don't know. Truly, the glass squid is one of those creatures that makes you stop and go, wait, I can't believe nature did that. It floats through one of the harshest, strangest environments on Earth. Not by fighting it, but by vanishing into it. And in a way, that's the most incredible survival strategy of all. In a world ruled by shadows and light, the glass squid is a ghost with a glow stick, a living illusion hiding in plain sight. Thanks so much for watching. Stay curious, stay current. What if I told you that there is an animal living at the bottom of the ocean made entirely of glass? Not a shell, not armor, not a piece of its body. No, the entire animal is made out of silica. This animal lives in near total darkness, it never moves, yet it builds towering structures that can last for thousands of years. This is the story of the glass sponge, one of the most ancient and beautiful life forms on the planet. My name is Ned, I'm a science storyteller, and this is The Curious Current, where we dive into all the mysteries of the ocean. Let's dive in. The glass sponge belongs to a group called Hexactinellida, a rare and ancient class of sponges. Unlike most sponges made of soft tissue or calcium carbonate, glass sponges are built from silicon dioxide. Yes, actual glass. The glass that you see in windows, if you're looking out one right now, is also made of silicon dioxide. These spicules, tiny interlocking glass needles, form an intricate lattice, creating beautiful, delicate structures that look like crystal snowflakes under a microscope. But don't let their fragility fool you. Some glass sponges, like the Venus flower basket, can survive for thousands of years on the seafloor, enduring pressure, cold, and darkness at depths below 3,000 meters. So let's explore the deep sea habitat where the glass sponge lives, at crushing depths and almost total darkness. Glass sponges are mostly found in the abyssal and hadal zones, where light never reaches and the temperature hovers just above freezing. These creatures anchor themselves to the seafloor. Glass sponges are known to create what are known as sponge reefs. And yes, you're hearing that correctly. Essentially, entire reefs made of living glass. In places like British Columbia's coast, these sponge reefs stretch for kilometers and may be over 9,000 years old. They feed not by hunting, but through filter feeding, essentially sucking in water through their porous bodies and straining out tiny particles like bacteria and plankton. And they do it in slow motion. Everything about them operates at a different tempo, the pace of deep time. Here's where it gets weirder. The Venus flower basket, one of the most famous glass sponges, forms a lattice so perfectly designed that it's been studied by engineers. Its structure combines strength, flexibility, and beauty, all while being grown, not built. They do say that evolution is the greatest architect. Scientists are studying its architecture for new biomimetic materials, stronger buildings, better bridges, even next-gen fiber optics. And inside that sponge, often you'll find a pair of tiny shrimp, a male and a female, that enter when young, grow too large to leave, and live out their lives inside, cleaning the sponge and feeding on scraps. It's a biological love story sealed in crystal, and one of my very favorite examples of symbiotic relationships. Some individual glass sponges may live for over 10,000 years, making them among the oldest organisms on Earth. Let that sink in. 10,000 years. That means that some of these creatures were alive before human civilization began farming. And unlike coral reefs, which grow relatively fast, sponge reefs are geological in pace. They rise millimeter by millimeter across millennia, shaping deep sea ecosystems that shelter fish, crustaceans, and microscopic life. Destroying one with a trawl net is like toppling a cathedral. It can take thousands of years to rebuild. Sadly, these ancient glass cathedrals of the deep are incredibly fragile. Trawling, mining, and deep-sea development can shatter them in an instant. Scientists are racing to map, protect, and understand them before they're lost to history.
We know that they're still doing some trawling and some prawn trapping.
There must be kind of a way to get these reefs protected right away, because if we wouldn't do that, the reefs would be gone within a few years.
So these sponges are the only glass sponges that are reef forming. And the only place that they are forming reefs are on the Canadian coast.
So next time you look through a window, remember, somewhere at the bottom of the sea, there is a creature made out of glass that has been quietly watching the world pass by for the last 10,000 years. Thanks so much for coming here to learn about the glass sponge. I do deep dives into all sorts of different sea creatures and concepts of biological evolution as well as ecology. I'm Ned, reminding you to stay curious and stay current. Thanks again for watching.
If you're interested in learning more about the ocean, consider subscribing, throwing a like, and leaving a comment below. I'd love to hear what you'd like to learn about next.